Welcome in, everybody, to today's very special episode of Mayor Aaron's Toy Box. Now, today's episode, that's right, it is full of really exciting surprises.
More surprises? I love surprises! Oh, wait, does this surprise have to do with that creepy Lily doll again?
Oh, well, hey, everybody. It's Silly Jelly! And hey, don't you worry. Today's surprise is way better than this Lily doll.
Snap out of it, Mayor Aaron. I need to know what the surprise is.
Well, today's surprise is actually the brand new Alexa Bliss Ultimate figure. That's what we're going to review today. But to be honest with you, Jilly, I have a bit of a conflict.
Well, what seems to be the problem?
Yeah, well, that problem comes down to two choices. Do I open the Ultimate Edition figure? Or do I keep it MOC? Do I open? Or do I keep it MOC? The voices are trying to tell me, but I don't know what direction I have to go!
Are you okay, Mayor Aaron?
Oh, wait a sec. I ordered two. Well, gosh darn, that made my decision easy.
You silly goose! Now you can open one and keep one MOC!
Yeah, you know what? You're right, Jilly. I actually have another one that's on its way to LumberJillville, but isn't quite here yet. I want to do a giveaway with it. You know why? Because I want to spread the LumberJillville love, yeah. A lot like the plague.
Interesting choice of words, but okay. You're gonna give away a woman's wrestling figure? Ha! Women's wrestling figures are peg warmers. They don't sell. They shouldn't even be included in the main lines.
Oh, well, look who it is, everybody. Clap, clap. It's the My Hole Troll. Living his life just trolling the internet, talking bad and hating on women's wrestling figures. Oh, My Hole Troll, get a life.
I do have a life, and it's to be a pouty baby and post on Facebook groups, just to show how badly I dislike women's wrestling figures.
Well, it sounds to me that you don't belong here in LumberJillville. Oh, what was that? Oh, hey, you know what? Lily just told me that she actually wants to help you.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me finish this post. It's a good one. We need more Cody Rhodes figures and not any women. Ha! That'll be good. Hey, what are you doing here?
Uh-oh.
Hey, where are you taking me? Let go of me. Help, my computer.
Well, that can't be good for the My Hole Troll.
It looks good to me.
That's right. Here in LumberJillville, we respect and love not only women's wrestlers, but the women's wrestling figures of today. And if you don't share that same sentiment, I'm sure Lily here would love to meet you. Enjoy today's review. Thanks for coming to Mayor Aaron's Toy Box. Bye! Welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. If you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe to the channel for a first look at all future women's wrestling figures. I pre-order every women's wrestling figure and try to get my review out ASAP. This is my passion. This is what I love. Women's wrestling lives in LumberJillville. So I try to have fun here, and I'd love for y'all to join the fun. Now, with that being said, today's review is of Ultimate Edition Series 12 Alexa Bliss, and I am really excited for this one. Now, this figure has so much going on that we have a lot to cover, so let's dive in, starting off taking a closer look at the packaging. Alright, so starting off with this packaging here. Now, obviously, this is an Ultimate Edition figure, and with that, we get the Ultimate Edition higher quality packaging. Now, it is important to note that this is the exact same design and color scheme that's been previously used in the Ultimate Edition line. Now, that's important to note because this Alexa Bliss fits right in with all your previous Ultimate Editions perfectly, or if you're an MOC collector. And I know that Amazon exclusive Fan Takeover Ultimate Edition line, I believe that has a red base color scheme, so that's kind of an outlier, but here this fits right in with the previous Ultimates. Now, what really stands out right away with this packaging is this nice open window where we really get a good look of everything that's included with this figure, which is quite a bit, and I can't wait to dive in closer. Now, we have that Ultimate Edition logo at the bottom, that metallic silver. We have her name at the top. We have a photo of the beautiful Alexa Bliss on the side, her name on the other side, and then on the back, probably the most fun feature about this packaging is we have professional figure photography at the top there, and then on the bottom, a real-life picture of Alexa. I always like when they do this on the back of Ultimates. You can kind of compare and contrast and see just how lifelike these Ultimate Edition figures are, which for the most part, they're great. And here, yeah, this looks excellent. I can't wait to review it closer anyway. Now, over here, we have all her statistics, and then we have a little paragraph talking about her character. So now let's open it up. Now, these are pretty easy to open usually, and I say that because right when I say it's easy to open, I'll probably cut my finger open or something, but either way, there's just a piece of tape at the top that I already cut on accident, and then on the side here, there's a piece of tape, okay, just one, and then on this angle here, there's a piece, and then on the bottom, there's a piece, and it does help if you do cut this piece. Now, when you do that, what that allows you to do is open this up almost like a book. Now, I do like to keep the base box kind of like this, and I put the accessories in. It's a nice little storage box because, look, we can close it back up, and there you go. So I'm going to carefully get everything out, and then we'll come back together. All right, so my overall first impressions of this figure, I am blown away. Now, truth being told, when I got everything out of the package and put it out in front of me before I started filming this segment, boy, I was a little overwhelmed, but overwhelmed in a good way. My mind was racing like a million miles per hour, just seeing everything she comes with and all the different looks and attires that we can put her in. And boy, there is definitely a lot to show y'all today. Now, I did simplify this figure into 3 distinct different looks that I'm going to review almost as 3 separate figures, if that makes sense. And we'll do that after we review the face and head and hair sculpts. But yeah, looking at everything here, I am just so excited that we got this figure in Ultimate Edition form. When I first saw this gimmick or this character, the first thing I thought, being a women's wrestling figure collector, was, boy, we better get that by Mattel. And obviously we've seen kind of in the Elite line how the cost-cutting measures have really taken a turn for the worst with the women's figures. Charlotte Flair couldn't even get a freaking robe in Elite 92, so honestly, if we got this figure in the Elite line, we probably wouldn't have gotten these soft goods. So I'm so glad that she was put in the Ultimate Edition line, and boy, I am so happy with everything she comes with here. Now, the one thing I am going to say, which is a little finicky, and it really doesn't bother me that much, but I really wish she did come with the Lily doll. I think that would have been a really unique accessory that really would have fit in well with figure photography with this figure. All right, so what we're going to do first, before we jump into the face scans and the different head sculpts, is we are going to attempt, okay, and I say attempt because this might be tricky, to put on the attire here. Now, I want to show you how easy or how hard it is, and we'll find out live, okay? Now, I'm going to go with first this pink undershirt and then the dress on top. That's kind of the classic look, and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to keep that head as it is, but actually, yeah, to get this dress on, we're actually going to take the head off. Whoa, boy, okay. I just almost launched it there, so we have no head. No head. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to open the shirt. So it is a Velcro. It's not a slide-on shirt. We'll put her hands through. Might end up taking the hands off. And then that fastens in the back. And wow, okay, that pink undershirt fits her very snugly. That's perfect. A lot of times these shirts look goofy and big, but not here. Okay, so now with the dress here, this looks tricky. So it looks like we have to get the head and the arms in at the same time. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to, I'll probably bump the camera. Okay, boom. We'll take one hand off. We'll take, come on, baby. The other hand off. There we go. This is not what y'all expected to see in this review, huh? And, okay, so we'll kind of fish the arms in at an angle. Okay, excellent. We're making progress here, and she does have double jointed elbows, which we'll cover later. We're going to slide the arms through, and we need to loop this over that head there. Let's just get this arm through before your boy does something he'll regret. Okay, slide that. That goes over. Oh, man, this is a snug fit. Now, before I know I'll get it in the comments that you can pop the arms off, I gave it a little tug. Then it seemed like the arms were budging. I didn't want to break it. So, wow. Okay, hold on. So that was actually a little difficult, but a lot of times I'd rather have it be difficult because what that shows is that it's going to look good when it's on her. It's going to be nice and tight, very form-fitting, and look excellent. Now, let's see here. Okay, there we go, y'all. We got that dress on in that undershirt. Oh, man, it looks tremendous. Now, we will cover this look in detail later, but I just wanted to show y'all exactly how it goes on. And that really wasn't bad with all things considering. So let's first start off with the face scans and head sculpts, and then we'll move on to the attire and really break down these attires up close. All right, so starting off with the face scan that she comes packaged with, and y'all, they knocked it out of the park with this scan, and thank goodness, because they've really struggled with getting Alexa Bliss's look down. You know, much like Sasha Banks, it took them a long time to get a decent one, but here it's not only decent, I think it is spot on. It is amazing. It looks so good, and I really love that it portrays that Alexa's Playground, kind of bubbly, happy Alexa, and she has a very radiant smile going on here. Now, doing some comparing to the Elite 82, I believe the face mold itself does look very similar, but obviously that scan is updated and the detailing and application is so much better on this Ultimate Edition. So, see you later, 82. Now, obviously, what's really different with this figure is that brand new hair sculpt. And this hair sculpt looks excellent. It's very finely sculpted. We have that blonde color that kind of fades into the red. Now, I am going to say that I feel like with the women's wrestling figures, Mattel has struggled with hair color. And I've said that before, like in the Charlotte review, where they usually just make it one base color. And they did that here with the blonde that fades into the red. And it works okay. It really does. But yeah, that's something that maybe in the future they can fix. But yeah, here, boom. This looks perfect. Looks just like Alexa. Now, what's really cool with this figure is we do get an alternate head here, with not only a different face sculpt, but also a different hair sculpt. And yeah, this is definitely the more sinister looking Alexa Bliss. You know, we've seen this in some of her match appearances where the lights go off midway through and she comes back, and this is what she looks like. So this is tremendous. Now, this scan in person, it sounds cheesy, but it gave me goosebumps because I was like, Oh my god, that looks just like Alexa Bliss and just like that character. And look at her eyes even. Her eyes look tremendous. Now that TrueFX face scan technology here is the best that I think I've ever seen it done. Okay, I mean, it looks amazing. She has that dark lipstick, dark circles around her eyes. But yeah, the sculpt in combination with that scan, I mean, it's unbelievable. It is a tremendous, tremendous scan and sculpt. And I really, really, really love this unique hairstyle here. And I think it's sculpted perfectly and looks really good. So putting them side by side here, I do suggest if you're going to display an Alexa to get multiple, because as I'll show you next, there are so many different looks that you can have this Alexa Bliss have. And I think you definitely need a Alexa's Playground one and then a kind of twisted, sinister Bliss and match here. So I'm blown away by these face scans, face sculpts, and hair molds. I can't say much more good about them. So this is the first look that I went with, and this is a classic Alexa's Playground look. Now this attire is from the January 18th, 2021 edition of Raw, where Asuka would step inside Alexa's Playground. Later in the night, they would go on to have a match in the main event where Alexa started the match off in this attire. Alright, so let's break down this look that I decided to go with first. Now, this is probably the most classic look that you can make with all the different parts and pieces when you put them together. Because this is the Alexa's Playground Alexa that we saw time and time again, swinging on the swing, and even in some in-ring segments. And I imagine that most people that buy this Ultimate, this is how they're going to want to display her. Unless they buy multiple, which I do highly suggest. But either way, so I did switch out her hands, as you saw in the beginning, and put on her flat hands. That way she can pose them nicely under her chin there, and it works perfect. You know, it helps that she does have these double jointed elbows, and she's able to maneuver her hands in all different directions. Now, I am going to say it's a little disappointing we can't really tilt her head to the side. It doesn't have a whole lot of movement. We'll get to that with articulation. But either way, it looks excellent with these extra hands posed like that where it says play in pain. So looking at this attire up close, so you saw me put it on at the beginning of the review, and it was a little bit of a struggle to get it on, but that's a good thing because this fits her snugly. When I put it on her, you'll have to ask my daughter. I was going nuts with how good it looked because I expected it to look bulky, to look big, and to look weird, but this is so perfect. This pink shirt is a real shiny type material, and it does fasten via Velcro in the back, but it fits her nice and snug. And this dress here fits her very snug. This is the piece I thought was going to be way too big. So obviously we have that little Alexa Bliss logo on the front, and then we have like the white and pink splatter paint with a lot of intricate paint detail all throughout. I mean, that is excellent, and I'm so happy with how the soft goods ended up fitting on her. Moving on down, we'll get a better look on that third look I went with because it's underneath all this soft goods, but we can kind of see she has that mesh pattern painted on. Then we have these striped knee pads here. And then we have a really unique material, bumping material here, like her sock there. And then what's really cool are these unique tennis shoes. So on the right one, it says play, has little smiley faces drawn on. There's even different colors in that play. We have a little blue accented in the back. On the inside, not a whole lot. And on her left foot, we have all the intricate imagery here. We have pain in red with some blood splatter, it looks like, with a little blue in the back. So, yeah, if you have only one Ultimate and you're looking to display it, this is kind of the gold standard in my opinion. But I do want to show you the other two looks because I really like the uniqueness that you can really mold this figure into with all the unique parts she comes with. This is the second look that I went with this Ultimate. Now, in the same match that the previous attire covered, which was the January 18th edition of Raw, the lights would cut out mid-match. When they came back on, this was the look that Alexa would have, and she would actually go on to defeat Asuka on this night. Now, this look also appeared toward the end of her match versus Asuka on the Raw Women's Championship match a week later on the January 25th episode of Raw. She had multiple looks in this cinematic-esque match, but this is the one she wore at the end. Randy Orton would actually interfere, delivering an RKO to Bliss, thus crushing her championship dreams, or nightmares? All right, so looking at her second look here, the reason I decided this as my second look is because in a lot of her cinematic type matches, she would start off with that pink undershirt or even a purple undershirt in some cases and have the pigtails, but as the match went on, when the lights would go out and she'd kind of twist or she'd transform a little bit, the lights would come back on and this is how she would look. She'd have a black undershirt, she'd have that dress on, and her hair would be up like this, and her eyes would also look like that. So this is definitely a must-have look that I'm so glad they included the ability for us to execute here. Now, I am going to say that this face sculpt, this TrueFX scan, everything about this face, it's stunning. I mean, it is jaw-dropping. I can't say enough good about it. It might be, you know what, yeah. This is my favorite TrueFX face scan that's printed on and favorite face sculpt in combination together because it looks excellent. Now, I am going to say that when you do get your ultimates, I'm kind of a face snob, and with these women's figures, as I mentioned time and time again, you really want to look at how the face is printed on because, for example, my daughters that I am having in this review, her alternate head here, the eyes are on a little bit crooked. So if you look at the nose straight on, you see it's printed on a little off, and that's disappointing. But because the facial structures are smaller on the women's figures, we get that sometimes. But this one is printed on perfectly, and yeah, it's my favorite face sculpt and scan, along with this detailed hair sculpt here in the history. So this is my favorite women's wrestling figure head as a design. It's amazing. Amazing. You have to see it in person too. Okay, let's quit talking about the face and head. We already covered it. Now looking at the attire, obviously we reused that dress, but this time we put a black soft goods t-shirt underneath, and this does come in the package alongside that pink one. We do have her grasping hands with the gloves on. It does say pain, and it does say play, just like her flat hands. This time they're allowed to grab a little bit. And she does have her nails painted white, with varying cleanliness, if that makes sense, because it's kind of off there. But either way, then moving on down, we have that same lower half that we just saw. But yeah, this is also a very distinct look, and it's all the more reason to get at least 2 of these. So I'll do a side-by-side with all 3 looks at the end. But yeah, this look is stunning. That is really excellently highlighted by that face. This is the third look I decided to go with, which represents her ring attire. Now, this attire here does remind me of her look at SummerSlam 2021 where she took on Eva Marie. Now, I understand that this attire right in front of us is nothing at all like that attire she wore at SummerSlam. That was much more intricately detailed, but this is just a really basic, dumbed down version. It's kind of a base level ring attire, which is okay because we get all the soft goods. So that's what it kind of reminds me of, but as far as I can tell with this character, this gimmick, I couldn't really find a match where she wore this exact attire. Alright, so now this is the third look I decided to go with. Now this is the body she comes packaged with. The only switch I made was I put on that alternate head. Now, as of late in this gimmick, or more recently, she started wrestling in very intricately detailed attire. Look at SummerSlam 2021 versus Eva Marie. And it looks kind of like this. Not spot on, obviously. That's very detailed. Even her match, I believe, versus Charlotte, it was a very detailed attire. And here's just black with silver accents. And it looks striking. It really does. However, with this gimmick, I could not find a match where she wore this exact attire. Now, before this gimmick, she did have a black and silver attire that she wore quite a bit. However, this represents her new gimmick. And I know that because if you look at her legs, she had the painted on mesh here. She has those striped knee pads and obviously the shoes and everything. So I think they decided to just give her kind of a basic, no pun intended, a basic ring attire here because obviously the big selling point of this figure is the soft goods. However, even though this might not be ring accurate to a match that she had with this gimmick, I think this looks awesome. I absolutely love how this looks. Now, looking up close, we do have that molded top here that we've seen time and time again with Miss Bliss, but we have so much paint detail, and that silver's really painted on intricately. Her bottoms here do have a lot of intricate detail painted on. Obviously, that mesh we covered before looks great. It even has little overlaps, which makes it look really real. We have those knee pads we covered, that material here representing the sock, and then the shoes. Now, to show you the difference between this body mold And her Elite 82, there's a lot. You know, this Elite 82 did seem quite awkward. It seemed weird. Didn't seem to scale with Alexa. Now, her legs are muscular. Don't get me wrong. If we're looking at the body sculpt and mold, her legs are very muscular. Maybe too muscular here in the Ultimate, but they're scaled down and very realistic to Alexa. Whereas if you looked at Elite 82, look at those quads, y'all. Look at those legs. Those are like China legs there. And also everything seems to be scaled down and accurate. So looking over at that Elite 82, the arm length is about a hand longer. It's just very long. She's also a little bit taller than she should be. And everything else proportion-wise is just kind of out of whack with this Elite 82. It's definitely just a reused part figure. And yeah, there's not even a point in comparing these side by side because, boom, let's get that out of here. If you're looking for a ring gear Alexa Bliss, this is it. This is it right here. So realistically, if you're a big Alexa Bliss fan, I hate to tell you, but you almost need to get 3 because the first 2 looks I think are a necessity. And I really like this ring attire look. Even though it's kind of bland, kind of basic, I still think it pops and looks excellent. So while we have her out of the soft goods, let's cover articulation. Now it's important to note that the soft goods don't inhibit her articulation, but here you'll just be able to see it a little more. Now her head really doesn't move a whole lot. You know, this head sculpt or this hair sculpt moves a lot better than the other hair sculpt, but still we get looking right, looking left. We don't get a whole lot of movement on that ball joint. The shoulder is on a ball joint, all different directions we can move. We have an upper arm swivel. We have double jointed elbows. Her wrist can swivel. It can also extend up and flex. She has an upper torso swivel where she could side bend, extend back, and flex forward. She has that waist swivel. She has a hip on a ball joint, all different directions there. She has that upper hip swivel. She has double jointed knees, and these knee pads really don't inhibit the knee movement because they're moved down a little bit, but it slightly does. I mean, you can kind of, okay, no, I guess it doesn't. You can really flex that knee pretty well. Now, she does have where that upper boot swivel would be. She does have a swivel at the top of that sock. And the foot can rock side to side. It can plantar flex and it can dorsiflex. And yes, it has that stinking ultimate foot joint. But I am happy to say that it does appear to be a lot tighter on this figure than previous ones of mine. Even my Charlotte, when I reviewed that, the feet were already hanging down. I can't stand this joint. I mean, I'm going to do a lot of figure photography with this figure. And I'm really interested to see if this makes a difference because these joints do appear to be a lot tighter, even on the other Blisses that I've opened, than this joint in the past. So as far as articulation goes, it's basically an Elite, y'all. The only real difference is we get that toe joint. But either way, the articulation is excellent and superb. So now let's do a little comparison between all 3. Now, excuse me for a second while this women's wrestling figure collector goes and sheds a tear with how freaking awesome this ultimate figure. I mean, look at this. These are the 3 looks I decided to go with. Now, obviously, you can mix and match any way that you want to, and that's the beauty of this figure. You can really give her a whole bunch of different looks, but I'm blown away, y'all. I am honestly blown away, and that doesn't happen much. But this figure here is, I don't even know what to say. It is amazing. Now, I know I sound crazy, but I'm telling y'all, I've reviewed a lot of women's figures, and this one is just so much fun. I absolutely had a blast. And even just going through images of her matches and mixing and matching parts and making 3 different looks, that was a blast for me. And this is kind of also a one last look segment that I usually do in my reviews. I just wanted to put them all next to each other so you could check them out. Maybe see which direction you want to go if you're only going to go with one Bliss. But like I mentioned, each look is so unique and so awesome that I would love to hear in the comments, which look is your favorite? Or maybe it's not one I have here. So, now it is important to note that I did have 3, and that's how I was able to make this happen. My daughter had one, and I ordered 2. Because I knew that she was going to hopefully have a lot of different looks. So when I pre-ordered them, I was expecting to be able to mix and match parts. And I'm so happy that I did pre-order 3. Now, it is important to note that I do have another one coming. And I do plan on doing a giveaway. Because like I said, I want to share this women's wrestling figure love with everyone out there. Because this is why I do what I do right here. Look how awesome this is. Alright, so it's important to note that I do have a different scoring scale between my basics, my elites, and I suppose my ultimates too. Now, I've only reviewed a handful of Ultimate Women's figures because we've only gotten a handful of Ultimate Women's figures. And honestly, after reviewing this one today, we really got screwed in our past Ultimate Edition figures. The Ronda was cool how you could give her two distinct looks, but we got screwed on the Becky Lynch. That face scan is doo-doo butter, and that should not have been an Ultimate figure. And that Charlotte, I really like. I love that Charlotte. We can see it back here, okay? But that robe that's included with her, cheap. It is cheap. It is paper thin. That is a robe that I could see being cost cut, put into an Elite Charlotte Flair like we should have seen in 92. But that's not ultimate quality. You know what is ultimate quality? Ultimate Edition 12 Alexa Bliss. Now, with that being said, I give Ultimate Edition Series 12 Alexa Bliss a score of a 12 out of 10. I don't care if I broke mine scale again. Okay, I gave Ty Conti an 11 out of 10. I'm giving this figure a 12 out of 10 because, wow, they put so much attention to detail, so much care, so much effort into this figure. And being a women's wrestling figure collector, let's be honest, y'all, there's been some amazing figures, but let's not fool ourselves. There's also been a lot of really disappointing cost-cutting measures on our women's figures. I mean, we didn't even get a freaking robe with Elite 92 Charlotte, okay? But here, they knocked it out of the park. Now, it's very early in 2022, but as of now, this is my front runner for Figure of the Year for the Jillies next year. Now, the Jillies Award Show is this weekend, and I'm going to come back down to earth. But I am riding high on this review because, oh man, this is why I do what I do, why I support women's wrestling, why I review these women's wrestling figures and get them out there, because so many collectors don't like women's wrestling figures, don't buy them for whatever reason, and I say why. These are awesome. These women are awesome. Alexa Bliss is amazing, and we finally get an amazing figure form of Alexa. So, yeah, you know what? 12 out of 10. 12 out of 10. 12 out of 10. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figures, make sure to hit subscribe, join the community today, and also hit that bell to turn on notifications for my next women's wrestling figure review. Now, at the time of this release, it is right before Royal Rumble weekend, and this Sunday, the Sunday after the Rumble, we are going to have the second annual Jillies Award Show, where we award the best of women's wrestling figures for 2021. Now, a lot of those categories, including Figure of the Year, were voted by you. So I'm really excited for this award show. We're going to have a pre-show with the Treasurer and I. And just stay tuned to my Instagram for the exact time. And also check out the giveaway that I'm doing right now on my Instagram, which is going to be really exciting. And the winners will be announced in the Jillies Kickoff Show. So that being said, I had a blast with today's review, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every one of y'all, and have a great night, y'all.